It is like the old adage says, you giveth and you taketh away. And when it comes to the Tennessee Titans, they giveth the Ravens the opportunity to have an outstanding run game, one that is historic. And then they also have taketh away. They have taketh away the joy of some of these Baltimore Ravens fans, because if you have not heard, the Tennessee Titans are trading DeAndre Hopkins to the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know for some people they're going to say, well, DeAndre Hopkins is not the DeAndre Hopkins of old. Well, DeAndre Hopkins is a lot better than what the Kansas City Chiefs actually have on their roster right now. You have to think about it. Rashee Rice is done for the season. Hollywood Brown is done for the season. Juju Smith-Schuster, he's off injured, and he has not played well since about 4 or 5 years ago. Then you have Mecole Hardman, who's spotty here and there. And then you have Sky Moore, who most from that fan base just really don't believe in and want him off the team. So the DeAndre Hopkins trade makes the Kansas City Chiefs a little bit stronger. They're doing something to get Patrick Mahomes a little bit more weapons, because this team is being carried by defense. Patrick Mahomes is struggling on the year, throwing 6 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. So they're trying to get him more weapons. And how does this narrative, how does this trade fit into what the Baltimore Ravens are doing? And I know a lot of us Ravens fans wanted the Ravens to go out there and trade for DeAndre Hopkins, but with the emergence of Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers doing their thing, Ravens flock just feels like the Ravens don't need that receiver. But in some cases, you get addition by subtraction. The Kansas City Chiefs offense is sputtering right now. They are a defensive team being led by their defense, where in the contrast, the Baltimore Ravens are being led by their offense with a not so talented defense, or a talented defense that's just not playing up to their capabilities. So Kansas City is out here bettering their team. The trade deadline is next week, so they can still make other subsequent moves to try to make their team better. But the Ravens can also make a move themselves. And there was this one move that the Baltimore Ravens could make that I was not really considering last week until I read online. I can't remember where I saw it, but they said that the Baltimore Ravens should actually trade for Arizona Cardinals safety Budda Baker. And I know you're going to say, but Hendo, you like offense. Why would we trade for a safety? Well, me personally, I wouldn't trade for a safety because we have so many things allocated over to the defensive side of the ball. So I couldn't care less. Get it together. You're being paid all this money. Play a lot better. But I know how the Baltimore Ravens think. And for them, they look for any and every opportunity to sign a defender. And their rationale is going to be, well, we have to stop the passing game of the Kansas City Chiefs if we ever meet them in the playoffs. So we have to do something to shore up the back end of this defense. And to me, it's crazy, but Budda Baker would make sense to me if they could package a deal with Marcus Williams, because Budda Baker is an 8th-year pro, a 6-time Pro Bowler, and a 3-time All-Pro. He is the best defender that the Cardinals have, and the Cardinals are actually going nowhere, and they haven't been going anywhere for some time. They may not be doing a fire sale like the Tennessee Titans are, but they may be looking to get some assets to kind of build up around Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. But also, the Baltimore Ravens are not slick. I don't know if you catch certain things. I try to catch everything that I can, and I just pay attention to little things that go on. In Baltimore Ravens PR department, front office, you guys are not slick. Every time something happens, they listen to us. Like, they watch the podcast, they listen to the fan base. They may not always agree with what we say, but they listen to it, and they try to do certain things to kind of distract you. It's kind of like politics in a sense, but if you watch the Ravens over the years, you need to pay attention to a certain pattern. And there are 2 of them, one a little bit less than another. The first pattern is when other teams make moves that the Ravens fan base think that they should do, the Ravens go and use that as an excuse to get who they really wanted in the first place. And we all know it's going to be somebody defensively. But for me, the biggest thing that they do is they try to distract you from what is going on. And if you do not believe what I'm saying to you, if you think that I'm just making things up, we're just going to take this season for an example. Now, a lot of the Ravens flock, myself included, wanted Devontae Adams. Hey, I'd have took Amari Cooper if we were given the opportunity. But those 2 guys were traded to the Jets and the Bills respectively. And what happens right afterwards? Guys, great news. Yannick Ngakoue has been promoted to the 53-man roster. You think that was coincidental, right? You could be like, you know what? This happened. This is the reason that we brought Yannick in the first place, to get him up there. But it's amazing the news broke right after the trade news broke. Then today, we get the news that DeAndre Hopkins is going to be traded to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 5th round pick. A 5th round pick that could become a 4th, which to me, either way, it really doesn't matter. But I'll get into that in a little bit. But the same day that DeAndre Hopkins gets traded, what happens with the Ravens? Breaking news, guys. Breaking news. Keaton Mitchell is in his 3-week window to return to the 53-man roster. He is off the PUP list. He is now going to be available for the Baltimore Ravens. Of all the days and of all the timing. And they use this to distract us because while other people are talking about the trades, we're talking about, man, Keaton Mitchell's back and he's going to make this run game even more explosive. Oh, they traded for that wide receiver. Oh, we got Unique Ngakoue back to rush the passer. Like, it's the distraction things. But the biggest thing for me is what the Kansas City Chiefs gave up to get DeAndre Hopkins. They gave up a conditional 5th round pick that could turn into a 4th round pick. And I know a lot of you guys will say, oh, that's a pretty high pick. No, it's not. And stop being hypocrites. That's all I got to say. Stop being a hypocrite. Because what ends up happening each and every draft is EDC will go out there and draft somebody in the 4th or 5th round, and you guys will be like, man, that's great value. That is great value for a 4th round pick. Wonderful for a 5th round pick. It is great value. Oh my gosh. The things that they are going to do, this guy's special. This guy can play. Then when the season comes about and those guys don't make the roster or they're not playing, your thing is, it's just a 4th round pick. It's just a 5th round pick. What were you expecting from him? But before, when he was drafted, it was all about EDC cooking and EDC doing his thing because he found these gems late in the draft and they don't end up playing. Because if you don't believe me, just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. We got a 3rd rounder in Adisa Isaac. We got Rasheen Ali. We got TJ Tampa, Pepe Williams. There is a long list of 4th and 5th round picks that you guys were like, oh my God, cooking with grease. Now we talking, and then they don't play, and it's like, well, they're just 4th and 5th rounders. What did you expect? I didn't expect nothing. I don't care if they was 3rd rounder, like Adisa Isaac. I don't expect much from them. So you can't tell me that the Baltimore Ravens cannot give up these picks that initially are not going to play or make the team altogether. Because we're having a discussion on Twitter right now. EDC drafts a player and immediately goes into free agency to replace them because they can't play. So what is it to give up these draft picks to acquire a player? But I guarantee you, we're going to acquire a defender. I guarantee you we'll give up the picks for that. And you guys said it yourself. And I read it today and I almost dropped my food. And I actually had some ramen. It's actually delicious. But it is crazy to me that I saw somebody to say, I'll trade 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby. But you wouldn't trade a 2nd rounder for Derrick Henry last year. But you'll give up 2 firsts for a defender that has about $80 million left on his contract. That's fine. That's okay. We can't trade for pieces to put around Lamar to make our best player even better. We can't go out there and get some offensive line help. We can't go out here and get another receiver just in case somebody gets hurt or we need that firepower in the playoffs. But we can go ahead and add another defender. As great as Max Crosby is, he's not going to stop this pass defense from being ass. Budda Baker, maybe. But I'm not here for defensive trades. I'm here for offense. You have put so much money and so many draft picks and so many free agents into this defense. If it's the defensive coordinator, make him do better. And somebody brought something up, or maybe I made it up in my mind, but I thought about it over the years. Has John Harbaugh ever fired a defensive coordinator mid-season? Or in season for that matter? Has a defensive coordinator ever been fired by John Harbaugh? Offensive has, because we don't care about offense in Baltimore. But defensively, has one been fired? Or has one been demoted? Because Zach Orr is not getting it done. And I'm not putting all of this at the feet of Zach Orr, but he's not getting it done. We have most of the pieces that were here last year. So the Ravens need to do something outside of trading for someone. You made your bed, now lie in it. So if the decorative pillows and the throw blanket are just for show, you shouldn't have bought it.
Nah, man, I'm cool.